I'm 99% sure that we were all under the impression the Hungering Deep update was coming out today. But unfortunately, as quoted by the devs,
So firstly, I wanted to give an update around our plans for a weekly patch this week. Our intention was to get an update out to all of our players, which contained some of the features that I talked about last week. But actually, we ran into some issues just with an issue that was affecting some of our PC players on the build internally. We worked on it and we tried to resolve this issue. We couldn't resolve it in time, and so our only choices were really: do we release this build that has a known issue that's going to affect a portion of our player base, or do we hold on this and work on fixing it and then look to release a version of the game next week instead, which contains all of those features that I talked about last week. So we made the choice to go with the latter. So we're not releasing an update to players this week, but we will be doing so next
they
week.
ran into some issues with their release candidates, so they have to push off the update for next week, which the details that they gave for this thing may point towards it not being the Hungering Deep update, but more so one of the numerous little patches they had for the game before they released it, because they wanted to fix a couple things up and have some stuff done with it, more or less. But I do have some different stuff to talk to you guys about, so welcome back to Sea of Thieves, and I guess we're gonna get into this. First thing I want to clear up with you guys is the killer whale and a plate that we had found under the ocean. The majority of you, and I'm in line with this, believe that this is just pointing towards either naming your ship or having some more ship cosmetics. It's probably all it is. I don't see that. I don't see the correspondence between the killer whale and adding killer whales to the game, unfortunately. So I'm sorry if that disappoints you. Disappoints me too, believe me, it's soul-crushing, because I really want to see more aesthetic creatures in this game. That's just not gonna happen, though, from this point of view. Now, let's jump into the official stuff the devs had to say about the game and this patch in the Hungering Deep.
So firstly, I wanted to give an update around our plans for a weekly patch this week. Our intention was to get an update out to all of our players, which contained some of the features that I talked about last week. But actually, we ran into some issues just with an issue that was affecting some of our PC players on the build internally. We worked on it and we tried to resolve this issue. We couldn't resolve it in time.
So this is actually a very common and serious stance that the devs have to take, because this could have severely impacted the game for a lot of people. Even content creators that currently record and promote this game as well. So you got to keep that in mind. I do have a lot of respect that they didn't half-assedly just, hey, we're going to publish this update and it doesn't really work, but you know, quantity over quality. No, they're taking a really good stance, and I know it's frustrating for a lot of people, but it's unnecessary evil. Trust me. I've seen so many games fail in development because they didn't have the patience to perfect things. We're better off waiting for there to be no bugs, and then they release the update.
We're not releasing an update to players this week, but we will be doing so next week. Alongside that, we wanted to talk a little bit about feedback that we got on last week's update. So last week, we released a bunch of new cosmetics to players, which broadly went down really well. But there was some valid feedback and criticism around a few kind of elements of that. One was there was a set missing. So we listed it in our build notes. Players were then going around looking for these in all of the shops. They couldn't find them, which was around the sovereign set. Like, pretty frustrating again for us that we put something in the build notes that didn't actually make it into the build. A little bit of kind of cross wires and miscommunication internally on that. So we're looking at strengthening our kind of process around build notes, but that has now been added to the game. So in the next update, those will be available for.
That actually cleared up a lot for me, because I couldn't find some of the sovereign stuff either, and I was kind of wondering, you know, like, is there a bug in the patch notes? Did they put something in on accident? Did they not have this set ready to go and they accidentally didn't edit it out of the patch notes? I mean, this is also a common thing. Believe it or not, I see this in different games all the time where they say they added something and it's not actually there because someone didn't iterate the patch notes. And I mean, it's kind of understandable to an extent, but it also, like, it's I don't know, it comes down to checking and just dotting your I's, crossing your T's, making sure everything's ready to go. But I mean, these guys are also handling a lot. So again, I'd give them a little bit of slack.
For players. Alongside that, there was some feedback that a few of the items weren't visually distinct enough. And upon reviewing that, we've totally agree. So we're going to be removing 8 of the offending items from the shop.
I'm in agreement with this to an extent. The only thing is I'm hoping that when they remove these items, they're either exclusive to the people that bought them, which would be kind of cool if, say, for instance, you have the items that they're removing, or they refund you. That's the only point in time. That's the only thing that I'm okay with. If they refund you the gold you spent on them, or they make them exclusive so you can no longer buy these. So like, let's say one of you guys watching right now have these items. Like if it's exclusive, I'm kind of jealous of you because I haven't bought many items yet.
And then finally, a few of the items were priced incorrectly, which I don't know if people were aware of it or not, but we looked at it and we realized that some of them were actually priced a bit too high. So we've adjusted those prices. And for people who have already bought any of those items, when we adjust the prices and get that into the build itself, we will then be looking at who has already bought it and refunding the kind of difference in gold to any of those players via our customer service team. With next week's build, just wanted to give a little bit more information again around what's coming there. So public and private matchmaking is the big one, and that's really going to allow people to choose who they play with, manage their crews much more effectively, allow you to just play with friends, close out the public slots if you don't want them, and we're really looking forward to just seeing how that affects people, how people are using it, and really how it affects the play experience for everyone. The other ones are hiding your gamer tag underwater, which again is a bit of feedback we've had for a little while. I think it's going to be a really great kind of quality of life improvement for just generally when you're playing the game, allowing those stealthy, sneaky kind of tactics to really come into play a little bit more. And something else one of our engineers has just been kind of working on the side actually is around handing each other resources. We really like the ability now to be able to hand each other bananas if you're low on them, if someone's got loads, same with wood, same with cannonballs, just really kind of strengthening that kind of social bond between players.
So these are actually some big ones, and we saw that there was a clip here where they actually took a cannonball from one of the other players. So this system is obviously working. It's just some other bugs that are holding us back from having these features. A lot of these are features that people really wanted to see as well, and I'm glad to see that they want to bring this to the game and give it to us to actually use. I don't really know, like, one cannonball kind of sucks. Maybe if they could give us a full stack. Like, it'd be really nice then if, like, we were manning cannons and we didn't have to get off said cannons and run down below deck on a galleon to grab said cannonballs, run back up, get on the cannon, reload it, and find our target again and hit our mark. You know, that gets a bit annoying, so it's really good that they're giving us that. And then the name tags underwater are obviously self-explanatory and the other stuff as well. Really good stuff, though.
We've also made some changes to the drop rates. So as you progress through to the kind of higher levels in Sea of Thieves, you're going to be seeing far less of the castaway chests, which has been a big bit of feedback that we've been seeing from players. So it should feel much more balanced, and you should be getting higher rewards as higher players are kind of doing those higher rank quests.
This is probably the biggest change for me because I'm tired of doing like level 30 and 40 quests and getting only castaway chests. That really sucks. It's really, it's not satisfying as a reward at all. Like, I shouldn't get super excited when it's not a castaway chest. Anything but a castaway chest makes me excited, and it shouldn't be that way. Oh, man. Let me know in the comments section how much of an issue you've had with this. How much of an issue have you had with getting castaway chests on these high-level quests and just not getting the reward you feel you are owed because you are a higher level who has been playing the game for a lot longer than, say, the level 1 in all the trading hubs who's getting these chests and having to turn them in for the measly scraps?
We've split the team into 3 different kind of game teams that are looking after each update. So there's the Hungering Deep, there's Curse Sails, and there's Forsaken Shores. And so the Hungering Deep team has the shortest lead time of each of those 3 teams in terms of the work that they're working and delivering it to players. But we felt it was important to get something out to players as soon as possible. So that's our goal for the Hungering Deep, is to give you a kind of some new content and deliver it in a kind of cool, fun, slightly different way to what we've shown before in Sea of Thieves, with a little bit of kind of like puzzle solving, a little bit of collaboration between players that's introducing some of these new mechanics to the world. And it is, you know, like I said last week, it's a medium-sized update compared to the bigger updates that are going to be coming. But we really want to test out how does this new way of delivering content to our players work, take feedback from everyone, kind of see how it lands, and then move on and forward and kind of grow and evolve with our updates coming after that. So yeah, it's cool. You know, I had a player yesterday. I'm really excited around this. Like, there's some tuning and balancing and tweaking and stuff we have to do with this. But yeah, I'm hoping players are really going to enjoy it. And we plan to release a trailer for that next week. So yeah, like sometime next week we'll be releasing a trailer. We're just finalising the date right now, and we will be announcing the date as well. That's coming in May when we release that trailer. So something to look forward to.
So we can confirm from this that 1, there is a development build right now they are using and playing to try and balance things. 2, next week there will be a trailer for the Hungering Deep that will release. Unfortunately, it seems like we won't be getting the Hungering Deep next week, which kind of sucks. And the week after that, odds are, or a couple days after that trailer is released, we'll have the actual update. They want to release it in the trailer. Hey, come by, like the 22nd, and we're gonna have this update up for you guys with all this cool stuff. So that kind of confirms and narrows down our update window now. So that's basically all that we have that's useful in their development update for May 10th, 2018. I'll leave a link to their video in the description of this video, and you guys can check that out if you want, but I've basically taken all of the useful information out of it and thrown it into this video. You can comb through it if you'd like, though. Now, I'd like to make another note here that I talk to a lot of game developers. I talk to Subnautica developers, a very popular game. I talk to developers of the Isle, actually the owner of the Isle. I talk to Ark developers. I talk to a whole host of different developers, and I love the stance that Rare is taking to be transparent with the players. They know they kind of messed up a little bit with their update and the release and stuff. They're fully aware of that, and they're not beating around the bush of that. They gave us a direct answer as to why the update isn't here, their reasoning behind it, this and that. They're incredibly transparent, and that's hard to do because you got to realize this guy is showing his face to, hundreds of thousands of people now that are going to watch this video upset as why there's no update today, trying to give an explanation and hoping that they accept said explanation as to why it's not there. And the transparency is key with any developer that respects their fan base, and you can tell from his general demeanor he does care that this update isn't out. Obviously there is some disappointment there, and that's a telling sign of a good dev as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not kissing ass. This guy's never going to see this video. He doesn't know who the hell I am. None of them do. Sea of Thieves devs don't talk to me. I don't talk to any of them. I'm just saying it how I see it. And I think they do deserve some slack in this situation because they want to polish the product before they give it to us. It's completely understandable. But I'm going to move into some other stuff now. So this next session comes from the crew of Thieves. Now, these guys are actually really well informed with Sea of Thieves as well, and they keep up to date with the game even more than me, so you should definitely check out their Twitter. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description of this video. Definitely check them out. Go say hi. Pretty nice guys. So if you're familiar with the Sea of Thieves art book, you will know that there are pictures of the Kraken and its full body and how this thing actually looks under the water. We've tried to go under the water before to see what the Kraken looks like, but unfortunately we can't because it kind of just has black ink everywhere and, well, you can't really see under the water. Well, this is what it looks like, or what it should look like under the water. Now, not exactly this color scheme. There's actually a section down right here that shows the one that they went with the blue tentacles that have the jetting out, I guess, side, like right here, more like this one, I guess, more so, with the color patterns going through the red and the blue and the brown. This is basically what the Kraken looks like. This is what the model would look like if they put it in the game, but we do know that they only put the tentacles in the game. However, this branches into more stuff because there could be potential loot that they didn't put into the game that they want to bring into the game from the Kraken, and Kraken exclusive gear if you manage to defeat it. Now, I'm not talking defeat its tentacles, I'm talking defeat the beast itself, because we see its skeleton all through the land. We see the head of the Kraken right here, its top skull. This right here is actually the full skull of the Kraken itself. This is the body of the Kraken, so on and so forth. We've seen dead Krakens all over the place, which is probably why there's a Kraken Island with a bunch of dead Krakens and stuff. Now, there are in-game references of this thing everywhere. We've seen them everywhere. We know what the Kraken looks like at this point. We know how hard it is to kill, which it can be very easy or very hard, depending on the day and, what level you are and all kinds of different factors. But usually, it's a pretty formidable foe. The thing that gets interesting is that the crew of Thieves actually went into detail about this creature and items that were linked to it. The Kraken wheel is located in the general shop at Galleon's Grave Outpost. This is a Kraken wheel. Now, I'm not saying this is pointing towards us having ship-themed cosmetics for the Kraken in the future, but it is kind of odd that they would have such cool items in the game that the players would never be able to get, and a creature in the game that really doesn't give you any rewards for defeating it yet. Kraken-themed ship cosmetics are something a lot of people were looking for. It supports our assumption for what variation the developers settled on. In the end, as the eye looks the same as the one above. Obviously, we have the Kraken eye right here, and then the devs settled with this guy right here. So a pretty telling sign right there. If the eyes match, you know what one was picked. The devs also stated that there would be a physical loot as the reward for defeating the Kraken. Maybe pieces of the Kraken which serve as currency at a new trader. There you could exchange your loot for cosmetic items. And then we have a picture of the Kraken sails from an older dev video. Obviously, these are not finalized and complete. These are just black ink basically on a white canvas. There's nothing super fancy about this, but there is something that people will be really excited to see. This right here. The outfit is heavily Kraken inspired with the colors, fabric, and the eye patch that again resemble the eye of the beast. It isn't currently available in the game, same as all the other content around the encounter. But we are sure that this will be one of the outfit options once they become available. So Kraken loot is a hot topic. A lot of you guys want a reward from the Kraken. This could be the loot from the Kraken. Judging from the art book as well as common sense, it is clear that the Kraken was supposed to have a body. So why isn't this in the game? Why was it not released at launch? There are a few possible different reasons. Technical difficulties, developers decided the benefits didn't justify the cost, didn't finish it in time, and they never intended to put the full Kraken in at launch. And then there is a quote. So, the hard thing is prioritizing just what is the right thing to put in for launch. We have all these things we want to do, but what's good enough for launch? What sells our vision? Mike Chapman. In an interview about the Kraken just over a month pre-launch. There were a lot of ideas for Sea of Thieves and the Kraken, and I do feel like the Kraken we got versus what it could have been was a little less than incredible. It was a cool encounter at the time, and now it's just one of those annoyances you kind of have to deal with because there's nothing really beneficial for taking on a Kraken and defeating it, other than saving your treasure, basically. You save your life and your treasure. That was the reward initially. However, I myself would rather see us get some loot and some really cool stuff. I would like to see the Kraken's difficulty scaled up a ton, and then us get some really cool Kraken exclusive gear for defeating the Kraken. Let me know your thoughts on this. I have a picture of an evil mermaid from the Crew of Thieves website as well. Something kind of cool. Don't know much more about it, so we're not going to spend too much time on the mermaid. There is talk the mermaid will be a issue within the Hungering Deep. Who knows? There is also talk of an unreleased sword that is officially in concept art within Sea of Thieves themselves. And this is what it would look like in general. Now, this may be fan-made as far as how the sword looks, but we can see on the left, there is clearly a pirate with some kind of cursed, cool-looking sword. Again, speculation. It may not ever officially come to the game, but it is cool to see they have the concept art there. And it is a possibility. I do believe it is a possibility. One of the last things I want to show you guys is kind of goofy, actually. This was from some very old iterations of the game. And we were basically pills with mustaches and beards and shell bras. Shell bikinis for mermaids. It's kind of cool because this is an inside look at the developing process of a game, and I'm pretty sure Overwatch actually started in a very similar manner where they had you like, you didn't have anything really fancy as far as features. You kind of just start out bare bones and you build off of the foundation. And a lot of games start like this where they have super ugly, bad looking models and then they move into something a little more extravagant. So I figured you guys would like to see something like this and get a back-end look at some of the goofier things that the devs have to look at before they move into the finished product. Guys, that is it for everything I have on Sea of Thieves right now. So the TLDR, Hungering Deep is delayed a little bit, but we will know. We have more of a timeline now of when this thing's going to release. We also got to see how the Kraken really looked with its flesh and its blood pumping and all kinds of other cool stuff and a whole host of different things. I want to know what you guys think in the comments section down below. I have paid attention to the comments. I do know that you guys are swaying away from wanting to see fan art and fan-made concepts, so I'm moving towards a direction that shows you more of the official stuff and more of the official stuff, basically. I just want to know if you guys are enjoying the videos or not, ultimately, and if you want me to start playing the game and just, doing my own thing. Hungering Deep, when it does release, I will be playing it. I'm either going to stream it or just play it normally and kind of do my own thing, but I want to hear back from you guys. I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to do better for you guys, and hopefully the work I'm doing here is reflecting that for this game and many of the other games that I cover. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear this and listen to me talk about stuff. You're pretty cool for doing that. I appreciate it. Seriously, I do. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. And I will see you, you know what it is, in the next video.